Now we are taking the second part of normative ethics, that is deontological ethics. Another word that is crudely used for deontological ethics is duty ethics. So for our purpose, for our prelims examination purpose, we can simply crudely relate that duty ethics is more or less similar to deontological ethics. Okay, now to understand deontological ethics, we first need to know that there are two main aspects of this theory. There are two aspects, or we can say two dimensions. Okay, the first dimension is that it is a non-consequentialist approach, and this is the most important term that we must keep in mind whenever we will talk about deontological ethics. It will imply non-consequentialist approach. Now what it implies, we can directly infer from the word itself. The word here is consequent. Consequences implies that what are the end results. So this is non-consequentialist approach. It implies that this ethical branch is not concerned with the consequences or the end result of your action. Okay, so let me clear with the statement. Whether an action is ethical or not is determined by some inherent quality in the action itself and not because of the consequences it produces. This is the main aspect. So again repeating that what is the purpose of normative ethics? The purpose of normative ethics is to decide whether my action is correct or wrong, or I can say whether my action is moral or immoral, or ethical or unethical. Okay, virtue ethics, what it says, if my character, if the person itself, if my character is virtuous, then all the action by me will be ethical action. This is what virtue ethics says. Now we are talking about deontological ethics, duty ethics. So what is it is saying, that my action is ethical or unethical. It is not decided by the consequences or end result. Okay, but it is determined by the inherent quality in the action itself. Okay, so here it is not talking about the person. I may be virtuous, I may not be virtuous, but my action, even if I am not a virtuous person, my action could be ethical if the inherent quality of my action is good. Okay, this is what deontological ethics says, and further it is not concerned with the final result of my action. The action itself must be ethical. Okay, so we will take an example. So the example is, under deontological ethics, killing a terrorist is considered unethical directly. If you are talking about duty ethics and you are saying that I want to kill a terrorist, and know that terrorism itself is an unethical act. Okay, so if there is a terrorist, then if you want to kill it through the law itself, that is, you are giving a capital punishment to a terrorist. But deontological ethics says that no, this is not possible, this is not permissible. Why it is not permissible? Because the act of killing is unethical in itself. The act of killing, that if you are killing someone, then it does not matter whether you are killing a terrorist or not. Even though the terrorist itself has done some negative acts, but you cannot kill the terrorist, because the inherent quality, again focus on the term, the inherent quality of action of killing is unethical. That's why killing is unethical. By whatever means, directly by gunning down or by giving capital punishment, it would be unethical. Okay, irrespective of the fact that the person was terrorist. Okay, deontological ethics is not concerned with the consequences. The end result of my action would be that a terrorist would get killed. So in our society, the number of terrorists will reduce. So I can say that this is a positive consequence. But this theory is saying that you are not concerned with the consequence. The action itself, the inherent quality of action must be good. Okay, so this was the first dimension, first aspect, and this is the most important aspect, that is, it is a non-consequentialist approach. It focuses on the inherent quality. You must remember these two terms: non-consequentialist approach, and it focuses on the inherent quality of the action. Now, what is the second dimension? A simple dimension, that it also believes that there are also standards of behavior that a person is supposed to adhere to. Okay, so I can say that this second dimension is flowing from the first dimension itself. It is related to first. It was initially focusing on inherent quality of action, and the second is somewhat prescribing what are those inherent qualities of the action. So it is saying that there are some standards of behavior. Behavior implies how you act is your behavior. So there should be some standards of behavior, and that standards of behavior must be adhered to become an ethical person, or for your action to become ethical. And the most common example is nothing but the code of ethics for civil servants. When you will clear your UPS examination, you will become a civil servant, either in railway department, CPW department, and so on. So you must adhere to code of ethics. You will have to follow the rules that are given in that code. So what you are doing, you are setting yourself with this standards of behavior, and the action which are given in that code of ethics must be having positive inherent qualities. Okay, so the do's and don'ts are there. Okay, so the do's in that code of ethics will have some inherent positive characteristics, the action, and the don'ts in that code of ethics will must be having some negative inherent qualities. Okay, so this is what deontological ethics is saying. Now, coming back to our table, we have first discussed the virtue ethics in normative part, again focusing that we are in the normative ethics. We have covered the virtue ethics. We are now studying the deontological ethics. We have initially studied what is meant by deontology, what are the two main dimensions. Now we are delving further into the two main branches, or we can say the sub branches of deontological ethics. The first one is Kant's categorical imperative, and the second one is John Rawls' contractualism. Okay, so now I will deal with Kant's categorical imperatives.